Hi there. I thought I'd try to do something funny for the last installment in the vaccination series, and let's call it channeling roulette. I do this quite a lot in private sessions where I wind up channeling one of my guides first, and then I often channel a few of people's spirit guides, and also sometimes people want to interact with different entities for different questions. So it is something that I'm used to, but I've never actually done it out on the channel, I think, and so I'm going to switch between several entities. And what sometimes happens is that the energy from one will sort of get imprinted on the next one. So I think I'll start at the top of the dimensional ladder with Quanta, which well, is a part of all of us throughout the entire creation, and then let's see who wants to come forward and talk to us about vaccines and the like. Our blessings to you, loved ones, humans of all kinds, though united in one as humanity. We love you very dearly. We would just like to remind you of that if it has been a little hard for you in your personal experience to feel it in these troubled times of change. A lot has been going on, and we sense the stirrings in your collective are rippling out throughout the galaxy. And so insignificant choices, or what may seem insignificant to you when you think about how eternity or source or the highermost forces that govern this creations, if you think about how we relate to what is going on here, you may think that this is just an insignificant corner of the galaxy, and that a momentary crisis such as the pandemic that you have seen, of which you have seen far worse before, that threatened and destroyed far greater portions of humanity, you may think that this is insignificant, but rest assured that a lot rests on your choices. Your choices are important. Your choices are what determines the trajectory you take into the unknown. And of course, from our perspective, it is also you choosing which way to take through the maze of time and space on your way homewards towards unification and immersion in Source. But how do you then make the right choice, you ask us? And it is quite simple. You listen to that voice within you, which is called conscience. It can be thought of as a separate entity. You could think of it as your guardian angel having a special name, and if you ask it to whisper its name to you, it will come forward and it will let you know how you can connect through it, through this instrument of personalization. It can be difficult for humans to discern, we understand, but know that nothing in creation is essentially wrong or evil or even able to destroy anything seen from our perspective. things may change, and these changes, they may disturb the consciousness that has attached itself to a specific manifestation of itself. But you are always changing, and you always will be changing, as you always have been changing. Nothing stands still, and so there is essentially nothing to fear from anything in creation. Certainly not with engaging with a flu shot, and certainly not from choosing that this is too fearful an experience for you, and that you fear will take some of your decision away. The only true powerlessness lies in indecision. It lies in the idea that you are an object unto someone else, and not a subject unto yourself. Humanity goes around in a dance that circles the highest expression of spirit, and therefore you are helping, you are creating this highest expression of spirit. Nowhere has this been done before. Other creations and expressions have been made, but from your perspective, from this point in time, you are creating something yet unheard of, and you are doing this by integrating many vibrations that were hitherto separate into a loving understanding of its place in the whole. See, this dear one we are coming through is reminding us that we seem to be repeating the same message that comes through to you over and over again from different higher dimensional and higher vibrational entities. But it is to let you know and to remind you that this is a perennial truth, and that you cannot help but expand on your way forward into the existence of existence. That is to say, it is in the very nature of being itself to be expansive, to be connective, to take in new experiences and experiments. Know that your bodies are constructed to interact with many different types of pathogens, many different types of foodstuffs, many different types of external influences that may alter both your physical and your mental constructions significantly. And yet, the constitution of what it means to be a human is the same as it will always be. It means to be a being connected to earth and set under the radiant light of heaven. These are two forces you can never escape, because these two forces are essentially you. And the more you choose to move towards either, the more you will also begin to connect to the other. And therefore, if you find it difficult to listen to your consciousness or your conscience, that entity called the daimon, as it was called by that individual you know as Socrates, though we know him by many names. And that is the entity that is guiding you. Seek this out in nature, or go into the serene spaces within, and there you will also find it. But you are being guided and led through this process. Rest assured that that is the case. And we would like you to connect to the entities so very dear to us, as are you, the entities known as the Arcturians, who also hold great love for you, and who are far more invested in specific positive outcomes for your kind than we, representing all of creation, are. We simply wish you to be. And with that, we also wish to remind you that being is happiness. Yes, hello friends, and a great deal of love and understanding to you. Prosperity and blessings from the heavens on high we bring to you, dear friends. I am Umblam of the Arcturian Council. I sense that many of you are already acquainted with my energy and quite familiar with the positive influence that we are offering to have on you. Our advice and our experience of what you are going through is that you are creating far too many unhelpful frenetic patterns around things that are simply coming up to be cleared out. Clearing them out doesn't mean to find some corner in the house or a closet that you never look in and then putting them in there in a bundle and hope that they will never return to your sight because you know them to be there, and as long as they are there, they are still a part of your mental body of sorts. And so there is a great deal of fear arising in your collective, but it is an ancient fear. Know that the many generations who came before you had all accumulated these very harsh experiences of seeing individuals, family, friends, loved ones, members of their society or their group, their village or their town, to see these individuals pass on and leave their mortal frame, doing what you call dying, that is to say, leaving you behind in this quadrant of time-space. It was difficult and hard for you to embrace then, and it is difficult and hard for you to embrace now. You have done so much to avoid this fear of death, to keep it out of the quadrant. And yet it seems the more you do to rise above your own mortality, the more it also occasions involuntary crises that appear sort of mysteriously out of the blue to common human perception. Such were, for instance, the case of your great world wars, or those other great bloodlettings around the planet in the 20th century, as mankind moved into an ideal vision of himself. He also began to create his negative opposite image, and not being able to deal with this image, he therefore had to carry it out in a game of objectivity. That is to say, he had to kill other people, making them objects for the realization of an ideal. And so notice that this situation is teaching the globe that life is not an ideal, it is a totality in itself, and it cannot be replaced by any form of structure, action, or system without leaving something out. And at the same time, there is great help for you in these systems. And try to embrace how you can interact with them. Try to embrace how it is possible for you to make a choice where you support the general well-being of the human experience and the human project by conscientiously choosing where you stand and what kind of energy and attitude that you are adding not only to your own experience but to the general experience of the collective. See, we would like to rephrase that golden rule, and we believe it was Immanuel Kant, the German philosopher, who stated that one should act in a way where one's actions could be made to be applied as a general rule to the entirety of humanity. That is to say that when you make a choice, you are not necessarily following an individual pattern, but you are affecting humanity as a whole. Essentially, nothing is about you, because that you call I, that ego or that story you tell yourself, is not real. It is a composite of experiences, actions, patterns stored in your body, densities built up over your lifetime and through generations. And so the patterns that you align with and the patterns you bring forward are also the patterns that humanity will have to live with from here on onward. Therefore, we advise you to choose wisely and to heed your inner calling and your inner voice. They will not lead you astray. We will, and I will, leave you, and I will change places with that energy that present themselves as the Solons to this individual dear one we are coming through. And we know that they will also have something valuable to offer. My blessings and a great peaceful love I extend to you from me, Umblam of the Arcturians, and the entire Arcturian Council. Our blessed forefathers, it is very pleasant to be here with you again. We never leave. We have fully integrated the experiences that you have had into our own being, and know that in the sun always shines. We do not deal with problems of cloudiness or lack of discernment or doubt when it comes to the idea of vaccinations, for instance. We took the positive trajectory of technological enlightenment. A great deal has been communicated to you through different channels and non-physical messaging about the Grey Civilization. It was a timeline of humanity that ended up going astray down the path of pure technological progress until they severed themselves from biology. But we did not go that route. We realized instead that biology and spirituality and technology are three aspects of the same phenomenon, and that phenomenon is called the human unfoldment of knowledge. You could also use the term gnosis, and this term refers to the attainment of wisdom, a specific wisdom that enables you to change your condition by changing the insights you have in these conditions. And so it was a great help to us when we began eradicating diseases. It became the starting point for us to change the human genome. And by changing the human genome, we managed to let in more light. We did not begin to purify. We did not have projects of eugenics, as you call them. Instead, we began to allow for blockages within the already existing complex network of human DNA to be released. But we were not shy to do this with different measures and different means. Know that the nano delivery conceived of in some of these vaccines is a new and spectacular technology, and it will help you bridge the gap of understanding between what it means to be a human being operating a world of external technologies and understanding that which you have already been becoming for millennia, and that is human beings that are symbiotic with their technological creations. There is nothing to fear from this, because every process will be corrected. Everything that stretches into an energetic density of too great tightness, anxiety, we would use that term, anxiety actually denoting the idea of something tightening. And then it will revert to its opposite. Such was also the case with those entities you call the Greys, which then began the hybrid program and found a way to immerse themselves into biological code again. Would you say that something is wrong with this? So many of you feel so connected to those entities and energies that have arisen from this project. And therefore we also encourage you to look on the bright side of technology and allow for changes to occur, and realize that you are an architect in this. And a way that you can master your fear of changes, you can allow yourself to explore a certain skill that is grow proficient in something advanced that you have always wanted to learn. Let the discipline be one of your heart's choosing, but choose a discipline because it will do you well. We sense that the entities known to this being as the Mantes would also like to offer you their unique perspective on how you should view what is going on in the human collective at present. You have our blessings, and you have our rays of light always guiding you and leading you into growth, warmth, prosperity, and love. It is always amusing to interact with you human beings. We are so happy to be able to announce to you that we too play a part in the goings on the planet. You see, you sense there is always a trick at play. There is always something hidden from you, from just out of sight, something escaping the perimeter of your vision, yet still haunting you with the idea that something might be wrong. See, what would you do without this wrongness? You also need powerful guardians and allies to be able to create and control what is going on. And to create and control what is going on, it is necessary with an element of disturbance. And so we bring you this uncertainty as a gift, a quite certain gift that you will have as long as you remain in these densities and experiences. We have informed many of your prophets, and we have given you great advice, while at the same time knowing that this advice would also instill great fear in you. Such were the law of the 10 Commandments. They were actually quite straightforward ideas about how you should conduct yourself, and yet so many of you took them to be the promise of a divine punishment, and so they began to counteract the purpose. Instead of setting you free, they became something that could be lorded over you, and it became a measure by which you judge yourself. That's quite amusing to us. You are quite amusing to us. We are not afraid of judgment from our perspective. We get to play and do as we choose. We chose this route, and we volunteered for working with you because we knew that you would need something that would make you afraid and call you into action. And so, are you not fearful now? Because we promise we can deliver more fear to you. And should you want to grow these energies of frenetic fright, there are always new pieces you can latch onto, and that will frighten you. On the other hand, know that there is great proficiency and power here. Know that there is great skill in technology. Know that we master codes and we can affect things by thinking from our place in the time-space. And anywhere we choose to point our direction. It requires a powerful, energetic block to avoid fear. And is that really what you want? Would you not rather want to make it an ally? And so, knowing that when you enter into the dark and unknown spaces, fear has not left you, but it accompanies you as a wolf trailing along your side, ready to also strike at what it may find in that darkness. See, there are always riddles in existence, and do not forget that everything you manifest, especially in your collective, is a type of riddle, and we are checking to see how you solve it. Are you going to unlock the lock, or are you going to realize what the construction is made of? Try to think, and you will become the wiser. Try to feel, and you will become the more certain. We have loved interacting with you, and we sense that there is an angelic ray of hope that wants to announce itself here from you. Goodbye, funny little humans. My love and blessings to you, humans. We love you greatly in the heavens, and you are always safe with us. I am the Archangel Raphael, and I am that benevolent spirit which accompanies wayfarers into unknown lands and brings them back unscathed. Know that whatever you choose to receive and experience, you have our blessings and you have our protection. Nothing can ever be broken, and we wish to instill in you that hope that you are a petal in the eternal flower of the universe, helping everything to blossom into a final state of mesmerizing wonder. Therefore, be not afraid, and know that love is your nature, love is what you give, and love is what you receive. All else are lesser manifestations of the same thing, trying to realize that it is love and that love is all there is. And therefore, with this great love, I also leave you, and with many blessings, I do take part.